Welcome to the Third World Gender Summit, where we are going to be discussing a huge, a broad, but also a very narrow topic which speaks about gender. For today, I have with me esteemed professors, doctors, psychologists, the works, and we are going to be breaking down what is gender. Stay tuned, you will learn a lot from today. Thank you. Our first honored guest speaker is none other than Professor Khan. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today, Dr. Khan. And the question that we are asking you today is, according to a sociologist and also from your own point of view, what is gender?
Thank you so much, Zama, for that interesting question. And it's an honor to be on your show. First of all, gender, according to my opinion as a professor, has changed from the yesteryear to today. In the previous years, prior to the 21st century, gender was defined by genital organs as a male, as a female. But now, while we are in the 21st century, I have found that gender is now defined by what people feel within themselves that they are. Sometimes a male is born into a female's body, where it is a female's body but the person has male tendencies. They want to play with cars and they want to watch soccer and be masculine or dress masculine. And then males are born in male bodies, but they have female tendencies. They want to be fashion designers. We see so many male fashion designers these days, which was previously classified as a feminine thing to do. So I believe that now gender is quite a broad aspect and a broad topic, because it is a twofold thing now. It is not based on genitalia anymore. It is based on what we feel gender is within ourselves.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khan, for your first response as to how you personally view gender. Second question, Dr. Khan, is please do tell us, according to a sociologist, what is gender?
Okay, Zama, since you asked me a two-folded aspect, now as a professor I've done a wide range of research on the sociologist's perspective on gender. And it is quite interesting to note that the sociologists view gender as a cultural and society's view on what people define as masculine and feminine. Now, cultural views masculine and feminine as a masculine figure would be a person who partakes in all prayers, who does things as such, and a feminine is seen as a person who assists. So that is what they base gender on. The second aspect is they base gender on an attitude and behavior linked with a specific sexual group. Like, in my opinion now, men are seen as more boastful, they have a deeper voice, and feminine is seen as more of a squeaky voice and more submissive. But in this day and age, it is not seen as that way. We get women who are more upfront about things, and we get men who are more feminine and soft about things, okay? Also, according to sociologists' perspective, they believe that it is how people behave as males and females. Like, I am a female and I use my hands. Now that is seen as a feminine thing to do, but in this day and age, males also use their hands, and females are seen as to walk in a feminine way. But now you see more females with dress suits on and pantsuits on dominating the corporate front. Right? It is also the last point on the sociologist's perspective on gender is that it is not set by our biology. So like I said, in previous years, people view gender as biology, but now it is not set by our biology, but rather as how society expects us to think and behave based on our sex. Like I said, they expect females to be act in a feminine way, to be nurturing and caring, and males to be strong and boastful. But you find now it is changed up, where we find there's house husbands. My father was a house husband, and my mother went to work. So it's quite a different perspective. So I feel that gender is how you see it.
Thank you so much for your response, Dr. Khan. Very, very, very informative. Moving along to our second speaker for today, Professor Shange, as a majoring psychologist, do tell us from your own point of view, what do functionalists say about gender?
Thank you, Zama, for inviting me into your show. So, children become aware of their gender roles from their earliest years. So, this is through the 4 agents of socialization, which is families, peer groups, mass media, and education. So, this is also explained through the cognitive development theory, which explains that children depict everything that their parents, their neighbors do, and they try by all means to do or follow such behaviors. Okay, so for example, as I was growing up, I also, no one told me, but it was something that I've seen as my brothers would do, or my family members would do. So for examples, it was also in schools, gender roles is also depicted there, whereby the girls are supposed to clean the classrooms and the guys are supposed to move the desks. So that's where the division, to say, takes place, or it is prevailed according to the functionalist view.
Thank you so much, Professor Shange. Now, moving along, we still want to get more insight on these functionalist theories. Now, Dr. Gumede from the Women Empowerment Forum do elaborate us furthermore, and we do realize that you just have written a book. So, referring towards your book that you've just written, please do tell us more on the topic.
Okay, thank you so much, Zama, for the question, and thank you so much for inviting me. Further elaborating more from what Dr. Shange has said on the functionalist theory. Well, we have written a book in 2014 and have worked with different and various sociologists. And they have this view on gender, where they have this perception of men and women being different in life activities, where we find men performing men duties where they are the breadwinners at home, and women performing women duties where they are the caregivers at home and the homekeepers as well. It further discusses and explains that the functionalist perspective believes in nuclear family, where we have a male and a female as father and mother as well, and also continues by elaborating where we have the father of the house being the source, or being supposed to be the source of the family, and or the income source of the family, and whereas the mother has the responsibility of taking care of the children and also their household chores. Also, by giving us such examples, we also do find that men perform men duties, and we still have families that still have instilled that that factor of having men being more muscular and performing men duties, and women being feminine performing women duties. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gumede. Very informative stuff. We are now moving along to Mr. Duma, who comes from the ASPA Foundation, where they deal with kids who have been abused. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, Mr. Duma. Do tell us more about your organization and what development you have made with regards to gender and how children behave.
Okay, thank you, Zama, for inviting me to your show. As you've mentioned, that I'm Mr. Duma, coming from APSA Homes. So what we usually do there, we offer counseling to children who have been abused physically, sexually, emotionally, and also to children who are undergoing depression. So from my observation and from my research, we have come to know that behavior of these children, it is passed from a generation to generation, meaning that this behavior is passed from parent to their offspring. So from functionalist view, it highlights that men should be strong, dominant providers, while women are perceived as weak people, dependent, and also they focus more on their outside appearance. So from my observation and also to the research that we have conducted, we have noted that women are more strong and they are also more independent compared to men. Men usually tend to be more sensitive, and also they tend to be more dependent. For example, if I've come across to a child which stated that he is dead because he grew up without having a father. So you could see on that note that men are more dependent compared to women. So there are also two dominant perspectives that illustrate different viewpoint on gender. So I'll highlight more on a functionalist perspective, which believe that both men and women possess specific qualities that make them excellent at specific events. So those qualities are not interchangeable.
Thank you so much, Mr. Duma. Moving to our esteemed speaker, we have Ms. Trili from the Sonke Justice Group. Do tell us what you guys do at the Sonke Justice Groups, and what can you guys bring to the table with regards to our topic for today?
Thank you, Zama, for having me on the show. So at the Sonke Gender Justice, it's a non-profitable organization running throughout South Africa, or Africa as a whole. So what we basically do there, we promote gender equalities between men, women, and children. And the aim is to achieve gender transformation in our society. And to elaborate more on the research that we recently did, we found it out that the conflict theorists view qualities between men and women as dependent on social conditions. For instance, if a society gives respect to a person based on their social status, level of education, or their position in the society. And drawing from what Professor Shange and Dr. Khan has said, growing up, we as children, we believe that a girl has duties that she must do, and for boys there are also duties that they must do. And women are supposed to be caregivers, homekeepers, and they're supposed to do they're supposed to do duties for home, and boys are supposed to do hard work such as farming and stuff. So that's basically what we focusing on, to look at how gender is being promoted in the society.
Thank you so much, Ms. Trili. That was very informative. We are now moving on to Mr. Ngamu, Minister of Gender and Equity. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence, Minister. Minister, for today, your task is to please critique functionalism.
To be part of this subcommittee, I'm truly grateful. As a Minister of Gender and Equity, what we do is that we ensure that every gender is presented in the department, such as women, men, and gay and lesbian. So my critiques on functionalism is that the main aim of functionalism is to ensure that the society functions according to their roles. So the main issue with functionalism is that it is dysfunctional, not function accordingly. For an example, it might happen that a man or a woman is unable to perform that type of role. For an example, if a woman is not able to have children, would be an issue, because she is expected to have children. Another issue with conflict theory is that it restricts women from performing other roles. Like for instance, a woman will be doing the domestic work instead of trying to do other work, such as building a house or in a construction site.
Thank you very much, Minister. I think whenever we are hosting summits or talks such as this, we also need to involve people who are at the top, who are responsible for giving out rules and regulations. So thank you very much, Minister, and it is very encouraging for us as South African citizens to know that you guys are constantly thinking about what is best for society as well as humanity. Moving along to our second last speaker for today, we have with us Mrs. Mqadi, who comes from the Department of Labor. Thank you very much for gracing us, Mrs. Mqadi. Can you also please try and to critique conflict theory?
Thanks for letting me be part of the World Summit, Zama. According to the conflict theorists, the research shows that the conflict perspective is clearly seen as demonstrating that household responsibilities have a huge impact on occupational locations, the work experience, and the number of hours worked per week, all of which is linked to the gender gaps earning, which also emphasizes that unpleasant work will be done by those who are lacking resources. To also add that, we get that household labor is unpaid for and it is associated with lack of power, whereby the female, which is the wife, takes visually all the domestic work and house chores, and then the dominant, which is all to be the male version, is all to perform the least amounts of household duties. So which means that the male works in the mines or the constructions, the roads and everything, and then the wife is supposed to do the house chores, clean and then babysits and everything. So that is, which means the dominant male sees the female as the other dominant. The male is powerful than the woman, which is not supposed to be like that. So in the labor relations, it is said that men and women are equal and they're both supposed to be dominant when it comes to labor or the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mqadi. Very informative. I'm so glad with what we are having with today's discussion, because we have managed to bring out the whole subsector and also sectors that contribute towards the bigger question, which is gender. And with what Ms. Mqadi has said, that we are finding that the Department of Labor does indeed have acts that fight against this. But we also know that in most instances, it's rather difficult to follow through with these roles. So for today, I have with me a victim who has suffered from gender oppression, or should I say gender inequality. Thank you so much for coming to the summit, Ms. Pelogazi. Do express how you were treated within the working environment and how this affected you towards being proud as a woman.
Thank you for having me, Zama, into your show. I'm very honored. As you just said, I've obtained my master's degree at UKZN, and after I graduated, I went to Johannesburg to work there as an acting CEO into a huge corporate company. My experience about gender inequalities was that it was very hard to work with an environment which was male-dominated. You find that if you're putting an idea into the table, they will take it light just because you're a woman. Whereas where a man makes an example and put an idea, they will just take it. And I've been working there for like 2 years now. And in terms of salary, I've just discovered that another colleague of mine who is like the same degree as mine was earning 60 grand, and I was earning 40. And then that makes me think like, it has to do like, I'm a woman and he's a man, he should earn more, in which it didn't sit well with me. But then I just had a meeting with my associates, and then they just settled it. But what I think should happen is that the Department of Labor should make something like laws or something to address these issues, maybe like to not put gender into action in terms of salaries and everything, but just reward everyone accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, esteemed members who came to join our third World Summit, where we were tackling the issues based around society, which was gender. All in all, we have all learned a lot. Do know that today's proceedings will be published and the journal will also be released. But before we come to the end of our summit, we do just have a little thing for you guys. Professor Malish as well as Professor Khan have come up with a collage of which they will present and they will furthermore discuss, and they will perhaps be our closing for today's summit. Thank you so much, esteemed members.
So thank you, Zama, for giving me this opportunity. Okay. So I'm going to base all what my colleagues have discussed on this collage here. So as they were discussing about the gender roles, so I'm going to base this based on the functionalism perspectives of gender. So according to the functionalist perspective of gender, so we have heard that women are seen or as the caregivers of the family. So it means that according to the gender role, their role is to take care of the children. As we can see from this picture, the mother is protecting her child from the vulture that is trying to harm the children. So that means that women are more caregivers compared to men. So when we look at this picture over here, we only see men on the business industries. It means that according to gender roles, men are given that tendency of being the people who are on business. As you can see here, there are no female on this office. So it means that when it comes to business or something that is not done in the house, it also is supposed to be men who are doing that kind of job. And also on this picture, we can see that we are seeing a coison hunting, which means that men during the ancient times were seen as people who are going to work for their families, and in order for the family to be fed. And in this picture here, we see a woman doing the domestic work, whereas the man is doing the outside job. Where in this picture you see a man doing the mechanic work. He's fixing the car. And also on this picture here, we see a man only doing the hard labor, which means that women are seen as according to gender roles, they are seen as weak, as one of our colleagues have specified that. So also in this picture we see women doing taking care of the children and cooking and all this kind of a job. So moreover, you can see in this picture a woman is doing is cleaning the house, and the man is relaxing, which means that a man cannot do the domestic work more like what a woman can do. Right. I'm going to refer the conflict theory to Ms. Khan.
Okay, thank you so much, Zama, for allowing me the opportunity to expand on the collage. So I am going to expand on what our guest speakers have said on the conflict theory. As you can see, the conflict theory states that men should have certain roles and females should have certain roles. Like, for example, here you should see that a woman is supposed to be cleaning according to the conflict theory, and the man is supposed to be at business. This is said to keep them in their roles. A man is seen as dominant and a woman is seen as submissive. Okay? Here again, we see here where the man is used to make the money, while the woman is also there, but she's in an inferior role as described before. Okay, and here you see also where it is stated in the conflict theory that a man must not cry because he cannot show weakness, and a woman also needs to know her place. We also see in the conflict theory here where we can see that the man is the breadwinner, He is dominant in the household. He is seen as the disciplinarian. So the children are running to listen to what he says. And the woman is seen as the caregiver, the nurturer. She's baking the cake and seeing to the children. So that is the conflicts theory on gender. Okay. Dear delegates, I'd just like to expand on the sociologist's perspective on gender, where we stated society views gender based on masculine. As you can see, the guy is full of muscles, he's ripped, and feminine, where they are seen with dozens of kids around them. Also, this is the general picture that is used by society to define male and female, where the woman, even on our bathroom doors in our malls, we see the woman is in a dress and the man is in a pantsuit. And here we also see male and females in their designated duties in the workplace, where you see males are playing sport, they're businessmen, they're construction workers, they are chefs, they are engineers, and we see females as nurses in bikinis, as ballet dancers. So that is how the sociologist's perspective views gender, in males in male-dominated roles, in muscular roles, and females in female-centered roles, more caring and nurturing roles. So now I'll hand over to my colleague who will speak more about gender.
All right. As we have discussed much about this gender equality and gender in two different and popular perspectives, our aim for this collage or this conference was to show how different theories view gender. So the thing that we are promoting here is what gender equality. So as you can see that we're also experiencing what gender transformation or transgender. Yes, transgender. So the main point the point we are driving home here is that as much as there are different perspectives about gender, but we are trying by all means to make sure that that gender is what is equal according to male or female. Thank you.